Now, what do you do if you're James O'Keefe and you realize that you've got to go back to your funders who could be the Mercers, maybe they're Bannon. Who knows who funnels him money? Remember, he was a person of a VIP at one of the debates in the Trump arena. I did a long interview with him. Did we ever post that? We must have. Going back and forth with him quite a bit. In fact, he gave me his card. Maybe I'll go up and visit him one day in Merrimack. And anyways, so
I'm in a meeting.
I think the meeting's over there. It's over there.
Where is it? Oh, that looks like a day strip club. Yeah,
they were going. They were going to lunch. Their office is right around the corner. They were going to lunch. So what do you do if you're James O'Keefe? Your attempt to expose the Washington Post investigative team as being politically biased fails. In fact, not only does it fail, you actually do the opposite. You vet them and show them to be incredibly professional and good at their job and making sure that they would never print anything unless they had thoroughly vetted it. So what do? Well, you look into you've got all of this videotape. What can we cut up to make it look like the Washington Post is biased? Hey, do you still have that footage of that national security correspondent from the Washington Post in the bar? Okay, let's play that. And I'll tell you what, I'll get up and I will try and set the table, and it'll make it look even that much worse. So roll the really crappy logo that looks like it's at the end of a Cialis commercial, and then cut to me. Go.
Democracy dies in darkness, right?
I feel like that, man, every time I hear that. Those are become like critical to the point where I'll read some of them and I'm like, whew. Like, I work for this place? Like
if Trump just disappeared tomorrow, our traffic would drop by 40%.
American Pravda, Washington Post edition. Today, the Washington Post is floundering. They're spending a ton of time and money trying to turn the tables on Project Veritas, talking about an imagined sting.
Pause it. Now, let me make it clear. If you're watching this, as opposed to just hearing it, you're probably distracted by his hands. So we're going to rewind it so you can actually listen. He is not doing some type of like social experiment where he's trying to get you just pay attention to my hands. Don't listen to my words. Go ahead.
Talking about an imagined sting. But why are they so afraid? What are they so afraid of? What are they guarding against? Well, it turns out Project Veritas has done an undercover investigation into the Washington Post. The motto of the Washington Post is democracy dies in darkness. We think democracy dies when the media has a very biased agenda they don't reveal to the public. Well, today, you're going to see and hear that agenda for the first time, and firsthand.
Pause it. Hold it for 1 second. Now, I want you to know what he's doing with his finger. He's not doing this to make a point. He is helping himself read on the teleprompter. And this is an indication that he may not be terribly literate as a person. Go.
When the media has a very biased agenda they don't reveal to the public. Well, today, you're going to see and hear that agenda for the first time, and firsthand, from the Washington Post's national security correspondent, Dan Lamar.
Should we take another, Jim, should we take another take of that? Nah, fuck it. I just can't do it again, all right? That's as far as I can go.
It's like, look, once you see what you're setting up, just forget it.
Just go. Just let it roll. Just let it.
Anybody who's taking this seriously is not going to be bothered by that.
Yeah, I can do. That stumble makes me seem human. Go.
For the first time, and firsthand, from the Washington Post's national security correspondent, Dan Lamar.
The Post's opinion on like what Trump should do?
I don't even know. I mean, they're scared he'll do something stupid.
I mean, like they don't like Trump, right? Like, I mean,
they definitely don't like Trump. I mean, here's the thing though. There's the news side that's just trying to cover it critically and call bull when they're bull.
All right, pause it. I mean, if you're just listening, he says, okay, no, here's the thing. Yeah, they don't like Trump, but here's the thing. There's the news side, which just tries to critically call BS when there's BS.
But also, like, give him credit where there's credit.
Give him credit where there's credit, you know?
I mean, he's good. he's doing more things bad, but he's doing some good things good. And then there's like the other side of it that's like, the opinion from God, like the Washington Post institutional voice, and that's like the editorial.
Pause
So
it.
they just, like,
and so
rip on him.
pause it. And so then he says, and we give him credit when he does good things, and there's some things he's done good. And then there's like the other side, the opinion from God, the Washington Post institutional voice, and that's the editorial. So in other words, what this journalist has just explained to the Project Veritas people is what the longstanding tradition and practice of newspapers has been for, I don't know, at least a half a century.
So this is the part of James O'Keefe that I love, because he presumably gets funded by some of like the worst plutocrats and horrible people in this country to do things like expose the fact that there's a division between the opinion page and reporting.
Well,
that is awesome.
I mean, it is an actual civic service. So if people didn't know
it's
that
true.
there's a division, but let's see here, can you continue? So there, the Project Veritas, the PV journalist number 2, says they just like rip on him. Good.
Like rip on him.
Those are become like critical to the point where I'll read some of them and I'm like, whew. Like I work for this place. Like we cover the news. They are like trying to like educate people, but with a point of view.
Yeah.
It's like a very different mission.
So yeah.
Democracy dies in darkness, right?
I feel like Batman every time I hear that.
Dean Baquet.
Yes, there you have it, folks. They have like a very different mission. So not only is James O'Keefe in a day vetted the Washington Post investigative team in a way that I don't think anybody else could. Like, if you had any thought, like, hey, did the Washington Post really, really do their job when it came to Roy Moore? Now, James O'Keefe has shown up and said, yes, they did. In fact, they did it probably better than you could have ever imagined.
You guys are impeccable.
And then he comes out with this video, which basically says, incidentally, if you weren't aware that the Washington Post had a firewall between its editorial and its reporting missions, here is a reporter to attest to that in a moment of total frankness,
And
that exists. And that's also good to know.
And also a sort of dumb, good-natured reporter who is actually like, yeah, man, we're really harsh on him.
Yeah.
Who's incidentally not exactly observing an editorial firewall himself.
Well,
when he says that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there is
I don't care, but I'm just saying the national security reporter seems like he's trained in the school of if, Trump set somebody on fire in national television and people condemned him, he'd be like, well, both sides are disputing what happened.
I mean,
which they should be happy about.
Yeah. Maybe the Washington Post needs to make sure that their reporters are a little bit less pro-Trump.
Maybe a little bit less gullible as well.
It's like
maybe they do some due diligence. Go ahead.
It's like when news send kids or adults that look like kids around to test IDs and stuff, but then you try to force it into they still gave us licorice,
which is very bad for kids' teeth.
We
next week on Channel 5.
A lot. Awkward hand movement. Man,
wow.
Working in conservative media is
so
just the easiest thing
if you
in the
look
whole
at how much
goddamn world.
Money
it is so offensive how easy it is.
Absolutely.
We would be in a Fox studio right now if we could just demonize poor people and transgender people and whoever else. I think political correctness is destroying us. I will take my primetime TV show now.
That's right.
Thank you.
How lazy do you have to be to not even research certain basic facts about the institution that you are trying to investigate?
Yeah, it's funny that they didn't research it secondhand, but in the moment, it's also funny that she's like, "Oh, democracy dies in the darkness," as if she's putting a pin into the guy saying something really incriminating when he actually just outlined very basic things about the news business.
Oh, so you feel like Batman when you hear it? And Batman's a fictional character, right?
That's the editorial page, and then we do reporting, so it's kind of different. Oh, so democracy dies in the dark.
We have a really clear distinction between our missions, Right.
We delineate different functions of the paper in a way that's actually scrupulously observed.
I wonder if
democracy dies in darkness.
But I think, I think O'Keefe also knows that the people who are going to lap up his videos may not even catch that. They may not even realize, like, oh, that's the way these things. Oh, so they have two missions. Interesting. I never knew
still
that.
feel like when I watch O'Keefe, like things have moved so fast, and he was still like, because he shot to fame, if I recall correctly, by doing a completely misleading, disingenuous expose of Acorn, which destroyed them, and it played on all sorts of racial tropes.
Yes.
Right. And then, but like in that Tea Party period, like 2011 or whatever, there was still like some need. Like I just think like in Alex Jones, Donald Trump world, it's like, why do a whole video when you could just say it? You know what I mean? Like there's something almost like you could just say the Washington Post is fake news. Roy
Right,
Moore's
you could just say they're
whatever.
All their
And the
reporters
same
are
people
owned by
that are gonna
the CIA.
watch exactly, and exactly, and the same people, the same continuum, exactly, and the same people that would lap that up will just lap that up the same way some stupid sting operation. You know, it's like his function even for that world seems kind of useless right now. Like he's kind of another time.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos